So you planned a solid day, sat down at your desk, and somehow it's 4 in the afternoon, and you're still drowning in stuff you were supposed to finish by noon. Sound familiar? Here's what's actually happening. You're building your day forward, and that's the problem. Most guys plan like they're driving without a destination locked in. They start from the morning and just hope everything fits into whatever time is left. It never does. There's a dead simple fix, and it starts with one number. Most people never bother to set before the day begins. That number is what separates a day that holds together from the kind that falls apart by 4 o'clock. 8 in the morning. Coffee's hot, calendar looks clean, and you feel like someone who actually has their life together. You've got your list. You've got your blocks. You are ready. By 4 o'clock, you're sweating through emails you swore you finished at noon. Your last meeting ran long, and somehow there are 3 things on your desk that definitely were not there this morning. Here's what happened. The morning felt easy because your energy was up, and the whole day was sitting open in front of you. No pressure yet. No pile up, just you and a clean slate. And that feeling, that's the trap. Because forward planning forces you to keep deciding what to do next, over and over, all day long. Every transition is another small decision. What's next? Is this done enough to move on? Should I handle that now or later? That constant deciding bleeds your mental energy, decision fatigue, so that by the time the afternoon hits, you're running on fumes and the day hasn't even asked its hardest questions yet. Think about packing a suitcase by just throwing stuff in from the top. Shirts, shoes, chargers, all of it, just dropped in. Looks fine, plenty of room. Then you try to close it and nothing fits, and you're sitting on the lid like an idiot at midnight before a 6 a.m. flight. That's your day. Every task you underestimate is another thing thrown in without folding it first. Your brain handles the first few tasks fine because there's no debt yet. You finish the 9 o'clock call a few minutes late. No big deal. You start the next thing a little behind. Still fine. You grab a slightly longer lunch because the morning went okay. Still feels manageable. But here's the real problem. You never feel those overruns adding up. That's time blindness. 5 minutes here, 7 minutes there. None of it registers as a threat in the moment. It doesn't feel like a problem until all 12 of those 5-minute debts show up at 3:30 wanting to be paid back at once. So by 4 o'clock, you're not behind by one thing. You're behind by all of them, stacked on top of each other. And now the whole tower is tipping. This is not a you problem. It's not laziness. It's not poor focus. It's a design problem. The day has no hard edges, no fixed stops to keep one task from bleeding into the next. And you can be the most disciplined person in the building and still get buried by 4 if those edges aren't built in. Working harder won't fix it. Getting up earlier won't fix it either, because you just start the same broken system an hour sooner. What fixes it is knowing exactly when the day ends before it even begins. That fix is simpler than most people expect. You just start building your day from the other end. What time are you actually done today? Not when do you hope to wrap up. Not when does your last meeting end. What time are you walking out the door? Most people can't answer that. They picked a start time, wrote a to-do list, and just figured it would all land somewhere before dinner. That's not a plan. That's a wish with a calendar attached. And here's what happens when you plan that way. Your tasks expand to fill whatever time is left. There's no wall at the end of the day, so work just keeps going. You finish one thing and slide right into the next because the day still feels open. You keep going until you're too tired to care, and then you stop. That's not a schedule. That's just exhaustion deciding for you. Countdown scheduling flips that whole thing. You pick your exit time first. Let's say you're leaving at 5. That's your anchor. Everything else gets built backward from there. 5 is the wall. Now plan around it. 4:45 is your wrap-up window. Close tabs, write your notes for tomorrow, send the last reply, shut it down clean. 4 o'clock is your last real work block. 3:30 is a buffer. 3 is the block before that. You keep stepping backward, block by block, until you hit morning. What you're building isn't just a schedule, it's a set of time containers, fixed slots where each task lives, with hard edges on both sides. You're not finishing when the task feels done. You're finishing when the clock says so, because the next container is already sitting there waiting. This works because the end of the day stops being some vague point way out on the horizon. It becomes a wall you can actually see. And when you can see it, you plan around it instead of pretending it doesn't exist. Here's a simple way to think about it. Forward planning is like driving toward a moving target with no GPS. You just start and hope you end up somewhere close. Countdown scheduling is fixed navigation. You know the destination before you leave, and every block you place is a turn on a route you already mapped. So the key takeaway is this. Starting from the morning works against you because there's nothing stopping the day from running forever. Tasks bleed. Meetings run long. And with no ceiling, all of that extra time stacks up and buries you. When you flip it and start from your exit time, every container gets a ceiling and the whole day gets structure it never had before. But even a solid backward plan has one weak spot. One thing runs long and the whole structure can start to crack, unless you've built in a way to absorb that hit before it reaches the next block. That structure is what makes the whole backward plan actually hold up under pressure. One late email. That is literally all it takes. One reply that runs a little long, and suddenly your 3 o'clock bleeds into your 3:30, and your 4 o'clock is already dead before it even starts. And here is the thing. Your schedule did not collapse because you are bad at your job. It collapsed because you built it with no room to breathe. Block to block, task to task, back to back, all the way to 5. Looks great on paper. Falls apart the second real life shows up. And real life always shows up. A call goes 2 minutes over. A file takes longer to load than it should. Someone stops you in the hall for what they promise is a quick question, and 6 minutes later, you are still standing there nodding. None of that is an emergency. That is just Tuesday. But a packed schedule treats every single one of those moments like a 5-alarm fire, because there is nowhere for the extra time to go. So here is the fix. It is called the buffer sandwich, and it is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of stacking work block right on top of work block, you put a small gap before and after every block. 5 to 10 minutes where nothing is scheduled. The gap before the block is your setup and transition period. You pull up what you need, get your head in the right place, and actually start the work instead of stumbling into it cold. The gap after is your notes and reset period. You finish the thought, write a quick note, and close out clean before the next thing starts. Buffer, then work, then buffer. That is the sandwich. Not glamorous, not complicated. But that structure is what keeps your whole day from collapsing the moment one meeting runs long or one task takes more than you planned for. It gives your schedule the breathing room that back-to-back blocks never have. Because when something runs long, it eats the buffer, not your next block. The buffer takes the hit so your schedule does not have to. Your day bends a little instead of snapping in half. That one late email? It used to ripple through your entire afternoon. With the buffer sandwich in place, it gets absorbed and disappears. Your 3:30 block starts on time. Your 4 o'clock block starts on time. And you actually leave when you said you were going to leave, instead of sitting at your desk at 6 wondering where the day went. Now, a buffer only works if it is the right size for the block it is protecting. Too small, and it gets eaten whole. Too big, and you are just burning time you could have used. And most people just guess at this number, which is why their buffers keep failing them right when they need them most. The right buffer size is not one number that works for every block. It depends on how long the block is and how much mental gear shifting is involved going in and coming out. Here is the breakdown. For most standard tasks, a 10-minute buffer on each side is your baseline. 10 minutes before to set up and transition in. Pull up what you need, get your head in the right place, actually start the work instead of stumbling into it cold. 10 minutes after to write your notes and reset before the next block begins. That is the sandwich in practice, and 10 minutes is enough to handle both phases without burning a hole in your schedule. One thing worth knowing here. Short blocks, somewhere between 15 and 45 minutes, tend to work better than massive ones. A 2-hour block with no edges is hard to protect and even harder to exit cleanly. Shorter, well-buffered blocks are easier to manage and easier to keep on track. If a task feels like it needs 2 hours, break it into 2 blocks with a buffer between them. You will get more done and stay sharper through both. Now here is the part most people skip. Do not just take those numbers and assume they fit your exact day. Track 3 days of real transitions, not what you planned, what actually happened. Look specifically for the transition gaps, the time between when one block ended and when you actually started the next one. How long did it really take you to get into that deep work block? How long before you fully closed out after that long meeting? The gap between what you expected and what you actually used, that is your real buffer number. That is the one worth building around. Most people never do this, so they keep using buffers that are just slightly too small, and their schedule keeps bending in the same spots every single week. Tracking 3 days fixes that. It gives you real data on how your brain actually moves, not how you wish it moved. Match the buffer to the block. Track what actually happens. Adjust once. Then stop guessing. Do that and your schedule stops collapsing the second something runs long, because the buffers are sized to absorb the actual hits your day throws at you, not some ideal version of your day that never existed. You have got the backward plan. You have got the right-sized buffers. The structure is solid. But even with all of that in place, there is still one thing that quietly drains your energy all week long. And most people never connect it to their schedule at all. That drain has a name, and fixing it is how you manage your time at the weekly level, not just minute by minute. Here is what kills a good schedule even after you have built it right. You are doing completely different types of work back to back, all week long, every week, and your brain is paying for it every single day. Monday, you are in creative mode, writing and making things. Tuesday, you are stuck in meetings wall to wall. Wednesday, you are heads down in spreadsheets and analysis. Your brain never knows what gear it is supposed to be in, so it is always shifting. And every shift costs you energy you could have spent actually doing the work. Context switching is not just annoying, it is expensive. Every time you jump from deep focused work to a meeting to admin tasks and back again, your brain needs time to catch up to the new thing. You are not just changing tasks. You are rebooting your whole mental setup over and over all week long. Most people never connect that cost to why they feel wiped out by Wednesday afternoon, even when nothing especially hard happened. Theme days fix this. The idea is simple. You give each day a primary focus and you group similar work together so your brain stays in one mode longer. Here is a structure that works. Monday is for planning and admin. You set the week up and handle the logistics. Tuesday is your deep work day. Heads down, no meetings, just output. Wednesday is for meetings and calls. All your back and forth happens here, so it does not bleed into the rest of the week. Thursday is for creative work, writing, building, making things. Friday is for review and cleanup. You close out the week, check what moved, and set up the next one. When Tuesday is always your deep work day, you stop burning energy on Tuesday morning deciding what to do. You already know. You sit down and go. No decision. No ramp-up time wasted figuring out the plan. Just work. This also pairs directly with the backward plan. When you know the theme of the day before you even start building blocks, you already know what kind of work those blocks need to hold. Deep work day means longer blocks with bigger buffers. Meeting day means shorter blocks with tighter transitions. The whole system fits together because each piece is built around the same logic. Fewer gear shifts means more time actually in the zone. And more time in the zone means the blocks you protected with buffers are actually producing real output instead of just surviving the day and limping to 5 o'clock. So here is what the full system looks like when you put it all together. Here is the key takeaway. Stop starting from the morning and hoping the day holds together. Pick your exit time tonight. Work backward. Size your buffers to match the work. Give each day a theme so your brain stops grinding through constant gear shifts. That is the whole system right there. So here is your one action for today. Write down what time you are leaving work. Implement 3 blocks backward from that time. Put a buffer on each side. Execute one full day with that structure and track what changes. If this gave you something real, subscribe. More actionable strategies like this every week, no fluff.